Thank you for visiting West Coast Auto Enthusiast. Today we're featuring a 2014 BMW X1. It's a 28 xDrive Sportline edition. So there's a lot to talk about here. It's still covered under the BMW factory warranty. That's good until January of 2018 or 50,000 miles. It currently has 21,000 miles on it. We can extend that coverage out to 100,000 miles or an additional 4 or 5 years. We can finance it through Alaska Federal Credit Union. We welcome trades. So something to know about the X1 is that they're offered in an S-Line and an X-Line, and the S-Line is a two-wheel drive and the X-Line is an all-wheel drive. We only buy the X-Lines, and there's a ton of different trim packages. This is a Sportline package, so you've got black grills, you've got black mirror caps, you've got black side moldings, you have sport seats. It's also an Ultimate Package car, which means it's got a backup camera on it. It also has got navigation on it. So you can buy these inexpensive because they typically don't have any gear on them, and we only buy them with gear on them. So they tend to be a little more expensive, but typically our customer base wants optional equipment. If you're familiar with BMW, you can tell these ribs on a door handle mean that you've got comfort access. So you can lock and unlock your door by touching this. You can also start your car without having your key in the car. It's just got to be in the proximity, so in your purse or in your pocket. It's also called keyless go. Audi calls it Audi Smart Key. BMW calls it comfort access. So it's got front and rear parking sensors, so those buttons down in the bottom are parking sensors also. That's a black satin trim. That's part of the Sportline. And this is really the advantage of this car right here is the backup camera. If you look at most of these, 80% of them are not going to have a backup camera on them. It was just not a common option, but it's not. We're typically not buying SUVs without them. It's one of the things that our customers typically ask us about. So for us, we just try and keep them with a lot of optional equipment. And on an X1, you have to look for that just because it's their entry-level SUV and typically come with less gear than the X3 or the X5. So the black mirror caps is part of the Sportline. It makes a big difference. It also, you'll notice that it's all black shadow trim interior trim on the windows as opposed to aluminum or chrome. You also have xenon lights on this car and headlight washers. So that's part of their cold weather package. So BMW's added a trim called Sportline, and it's got part of what they do is they've got a colored stitching in their seats. Which you'll notice. You don't notice it quite as much in the back, but it's very noticeable in the front. So, and we really like it. And then of course you have the BMW Sport seat, which means this bolster and this bolster are significantly bigger, and then you've got an extension here to support your legs. So there's your trim on your door. You've got power folding mirrors, which is uncommon on an X1. We have to resync the key. So we're going to take this over to BMW and just have them do an inspection on it. Turn their lights are on. So this is your iDrive system. They went to a new system in 14, or it's a little more updated, so we like the 14s. Your option bar here, so Eco Pro is gas mileage, and it'll turn your car on and off at stoplights. This is your parking sensor, traction control. I think that's hill descent control, but it looks like it might have cruise on it also. And that is traction control, so that's taking it off. No, I'm sorry, that's the start stop. That you can turn the start stop off on that. That's new. I haven't seen that before. Usually that button is up here. So I'm learning too. Dual heated seats, dual auto climate control, 6-disc changer. Here's your iDrive system. On this particular car, as I mentioned, really the advantage of this car is a backup camera. You can tell by the front display here and the back display, you've got front and rear parking sensors. You've got a very nice navigation system. It's got Bluetooth. It's got satellite radio presets. It's also got HD radio, and then you've got you can play a DVD in here, and then it'll also you can load music onto the hard drive, or you can play your phone through a USB or an auxiliary port, which are located down here. Multi-function steering wheel, so this will allow you to move through your radio station, CDs. This, I don't know what that is. How about that? I'm not going to say because I would be wrong and I don't want to make a mistake. So over here you've got a button you can program for voice activation. This is Bluetooth activation. This is volume control. Down here you've got cruise, you have your signal indicators and your onboard computer system, which is here. You do have driving lights, automatic headlights, and fog lights. As I mentioned, the power folding mirrors, that's nice, just because if you're parking downtown, which I do, those fold in by the push of a button. So you can see the indication for the start-stop. That means that your car won't stop at stoplights. BMWs do that with their 4 cylinders to improve in fuel economy. So I'll deactivate that. As you can see, 21,983 miles. You've got this has got a home link in it, so 3 buttons here: programmable for security gates and garage door openers, and panoramic roof, which is an enlarged sunroof, which opens back to that first crease. We like them just because it lets so much more light into the rear passenger compartment. So that's it. Cup holder, if you're familiar with these, this design goes back to the 6 Series, back in the early 2000s. Which they've accommodated here, because the ones in the dash have just never, honestly, have never worked that well. I'm trying to think what else. Steptronic transmission. That's it. What I could think of. So, as I mentioned, it's got 21,000 miles on it. It's got the BMW factory warranty until January of 2018, or 50,000 miles. The other nice thing about that is on this car you can extend that factory coverage out up until 100,000 miles, and another additional 4 or 5 years. So super nice, very affordable car. It's kind of an oversized wagon, was their idea. We really like them. If you've got questions or like additional information, please feel free to contact us, and we can be reached at 503-227-2354. Thank you for visiting West Coast Auto Enthusiast.